Perfect. Thank you, everyone, for having me. It's a pleasure to be here. My name is Natalie Boehm, and I'm the president and founder of the Defeating Epilepsy Foundation. I operate a 501c3 charity here in the United States. A little bit about myself: I'm a social entrepreneur, and I've been battling epilepsy for 40 years. I have a master's in business administration where my focus is on strategic management and nonprofit organization growth. And what led me to want to work in Africa was I was in South Africa the previous year, and seeing the level of inequality when it came to education and healthcare, particularly with epilepsy, made me want to get involved in humanitarian work and help people in Africa. So myself, I was diagnosed in 1980 due to a traumatic brain injury having epilepsy, and I've had a variety of seizures, mainly grand mal and complex partial, and they're generalized. So I have damage to my frontal and temporal lobes, and I also have what's known as scarring on the hippocampus, which the atrophy results in things like cognitive impairment. So I am right now, my last seizure was 16 years ago, but I do suffer a lot of the side effects from the medication and the scarring of my brain. But for current treatment, I take, along with my medication, I find eating right, exercising helps to deal with those side effects. I also have PTSD, so the exercise helps with that. So I do my best to help people over here in the US learn that take advantage of multiple resources to help with controlling their seizures. My advocacy work began in 2017 when I became involved. I first created a support group on Facebook to help people have a safe space and be able to share their stories and experiences to help them not feel isolated. But the more I began to advocate, I realized that just talking wasn't enough. I had to be able to start getting involved to make a difference, and that's what led me to go back to graduate school. So what is the importance of advocating in an ethical manner? Well, due to COVID, we have a very low record of people bringing in funds, so that's already a challenge enough. So with COVID taking place, it's very hard right now to prove your case of why you need help in an organization. And with epilepsy being one of the least funded, that makes it even a greater challenge. So the first thing you need to, if you are a nonprofit in Africa, make sure you have your proper documentation. Make sure you have your registration number. You're complying with your government to make sure things are legit, especially if you are going to reach outside the country. Organizations in Western cultures, for example, here I'm in the United States, the IRS wants to know where I'm sending money. Who is it going to? This organization that gets it, is it credible? What are they doing with funds? Who does it benefit? There's a lot of questions tied to activity. And if you can't answer the questions, people deem it suspicious. So make sure you're keeping proper documentation and complying so that you come off as credible and increase the chances of you being able to get assistance. The second thing is make sure you are connecting the community. And now more than ever, we need to just not connect on a national level and within our communities, but we have to operate now on a global level. There's 65 million of us who are battling epilepsy, and being one of the least, recognized, this is a time where we have to unite together to be able to accomplish the goals to remove the stigma for epilepsy. So with connecting to outside sources, it is going to be a necessity to grow. But at the same time, we need to learn from one another. We need to see how we can help one another, and communication is going to be essential for that to happen. So why is ethics so important? Well, you have to show you can be accountable. People are going to want to know, especially when money is involved, where is this money going? Who is going to benefit from it? What type of work is being done? What are the results? Secondly, your reputation. People are going to do searches on your organization. Just a couple of pictures and pretty much keeping a journal of this is what we're doing. It's great. That's wonderful. And it's a necessity. I have a story of my own. But when I go to organizations, when I go to companies, I need to show that there's structure, there's a strategic plan in place, and that I can be accountable for any funds that they were to give for any projects. So if you don't do that and you don't have good reputation, the probability that you're going to get funds, that you're going to get assistance is going to decrease greatly. And also being accountable for your actions and having a good reputation will result in you establishing a long-term relationship with donors. If you can find philanthropists, corporations, organizations that see your work, see you know how to keep records, see your results, then they're most likely willing to give back to you. So right from the beginning, a first impression is the most important impression. So requirements to fundraise, you need to have your organization registered. You need to have a separate bank account for your organization. Organizations here cannot send funds to personal accounts because it's considered a conflict of interest. You're mixing funds. I know that I've reached out to a lot of people and they say it's very difficult. Banks require a lot of money to open up a private account, that there's a lot of frustrations. I'm working with organizations here to help alleviate that and find resources. So if you are having that problem, please feel free to reach out to me. I am connected to people who can help with that problem, but you must keep your funds separate from your personal funds. There are a variety of fundraising just besides asking for monetary funds. If you reach out to a lot of companies, they will actually donate supplies. They will be happy to donate services rather than giving money. For example, I'm working with an organization that's called DHL, which is a logistics company. I'm working on a nutrition plan for an organization in the DRC I work with, and we want to be able to get food to patients with epilepsy. DHL has already told me I will receive a 70% discount for anything I send over. So reaching out to companies, they may not give you money, but they may give you a service. Restricted versus unrestricted funds. This is something you need to understand if you are going to be accepting anything, particularly from companies. For example, if someone sends you funds and says, okay, I'm going to fund the clinic and I'm willing with this money to pay for medication for patients, that's what you have to honor. You don't use it for administrative cost. You don't use it for other things. If they say this is what it is, you have to honor it. Unrestricted means whatever you need to use it for your organization, you have the right to use it in any way. It's been gifted to your organization. So make sure that you understand the difference of the two to make sure that you can retain donors. So for establishing donors, the most important thing is how you approach people. You have to be professional. You have to be able to share your story, but most importantly, especially over here, they're going to want to see evidence. They're going to want to see statistics. Right now, myself just starting and being small, that's why I'm working with other organizations to launch my projects, because even though I have good plans, I'm new. So I can't go to a company like Google and say, I need $1 million to launch this project. They're not going to give me $1 million because I have no evidence of having any type of grant or gift in that amount. So you have to start very simple, show that you can handle it. And once you establish a history and can show your work and what you've done, then you can approach for larger amounts. But keeping records, keeping statistics, doing data analysis, it's challenging for some, but if you put it into your work, you will see that you will have the probability of you getting funds is going to increase. So what I just want to say today, like I said, thank you for having me, but please make sure in having any type of foundation that you understand and complete the proper requirements so that you don't have to worry about your government suspending you. You don't have to worry about people thinking you're not credible and losing funds and opportunities. Please focus on making sure you are accountable for your actions and make every effort to have a good professional reputation. understand how different funds work, how different donations work, and present the evidence you need to show how you are making a difference so that you can find long-term donors. So I've put my information up here because I know we're limited on time, but please feel free to check out my website so you can see our work. My email is there and our social media is there so you can follow us and see what we are doing to help people in the United States and in Africa. And I just want to say thank you, Professor, for allowing me the honor to be able to present to everyone today.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Natalie Boehm from the Defeating Epilepsy Foundation. Thank you very much for all the clarifications and all the informations about helping us and supporting all the African colleagues and developing countries to get their research funded and accepted in the big foundations.